Picture this. You've ignored the warnings, thinking the storm would never come. But now the skies have darkened, and the consequences are unavoidable. The chosen ones, once rejected, are rising, while those who harmed others face the weight of divine justice. This is not just a time of judgment, but a moment of reckoning and a chance for redemption. The question is, will you stand ready to rise or watch as everything changes forever? The time has come, a time when heaven's voice no longer whispers softly, but speaks loudly and clearly. And in that moment, no one can ignore it. Even those who have pretended they didn't hear will have no choice but to listen. You may have lived your life thinking that God's patience would always stretch, that His mercy would always be there to cover you. But that day is over. History has shown us that God's grace is not a forever guarantee. Nations, once powerful and mighty, have fallen, not because God is unjust, but because they refused to listen. They thought they could outsmart the divine. They thought they could keep playing the game, assuming they could avoid the inevitable consequences. But in the end, they couldn't. The reckoning came, and it came with a force they couldn't have imagined. It's like a child who sneaks cookies from the jar time and time again, convinced they can get away with it. Maybe they think their parents won't notice. Maybe they believe they can get away with it just one more time. But when that moment comes, when they are caught, it's not just about the cookies. It's about the trust that's been broken, the actions that were hidden. And suddenly there is no mercy. There is no escape. The consequences are real, unavoidable, and tailored perfectly to the choices they've made. This is what happens when God's patience has reached its limit. It's not that He didn't try. He has been speaking, warning, reaching out, hoping that His people would turn away from their sin. But there comes a time when mercy must give way to justice. When you look around, you will see it happening. Those who once mocked, those who once laughed at the warnings are no longer laughing. They are now facing the reality they once ignored. This isn't a joke. This isn't some small consequence. This is the full weight of divine justice. Think about it. When you stand before the throne of divine judgment, there will be no more excuses. Every thought you had, every action you took, every moment you thought no one was watching, God saw, all. It's as if you're standing there fully exposed with everything laid bare. And in that moment, there will be no room to run, no more time to plead your case. The judgment will be final, and you will have to face the consequences of your choices. This is the nature of divine justice. It's not just about punishment. It's about balance. It's about setting things right. It's about revealing the truth. Those who have plotted in the shadows, who have whispered behind closed doors, who have manipulated others to serve their own desires, those actions will be exposed. No longer will their deceit remain hidden. No longer will their power be maintained through lies and cruelty. The storm is here and it's bringing everything to light. But this isn't just about those who have done wrong. It's also about those who are chosen. You see, when God moves, He doesn't just bring judgment to those who have sinned. He also elevates the faithful, the humble, those who have stayed true to His purpose. You might have felt overlooked or rejected. You might have been silenced or ignored. But now, in this moment, God is calling you to rise. You have been appointed for a time such as this. This is your time. This is your moment to step into the role He has always had for you. It's not by your own strength that you rise, but by His power. And this rise isn't just about position. It's about purpose. It's about walking in the authority He has given you, a spiritual authority that makes heaven move and hell tremble. This is the kind of authority that no one can take from you. It's the kind of power that's not based on fame or recognition, but on divine alignment. You were chosen for this moment, and now is the time to rise. Those who have wronged you, those who have tried to keep you down, will watch as you are elevated. They will see what God has done in your life, and they will know that it was never about them. It was always about Him. They will know that what looked like failure, what looked like defeat, was actually the process by which God was refining you, strengthening you, and preparing you for this moment. So, as the storm rages, as the divine judgment unfolds, take heart. You are not alone. The same God who is bringing justice is the same God who is elevating you. The same God who is exposing the lies of the enemy is the same God who is positioning you for greatness. This is your time to rise, to walk boldly in the purpose God has set before you, and to be the light in the storm. Are you ready? In the wake of the storm, when everything has been shaken to its core, the question remains, what happens next? The divine reckoning is not over. What's unfolding isn't just about a few mistakes here and there, some slip-ups that can be forgiven with time. This is something deeper, something far more significant. This is where the consequences of rebellion meet the truth of divine justice, and the weight of those actions cannot be avoided any longer. Those who thought they could outsmart God, those who believed they could manipulate the system, are now seeing the consequences of their arrogance. They stood in pride, convinced they could escape the inevitable. They ignored the warnings, thinking that God's patience would last forever. They lived their lives as if nothing would ever change, as if the rules didn't apply to them. But now, in this moment, the truth is undeniable. The time for excuses is over, and the time for facing the consequences of their actions has come. Think of it like this. Imagine a person who has been lying for years, covering up their wrongdoings, hiding behind a mask of false appearances. They've fooled everyone around them into believing their deception, and for a while it works. They continue on, getting away with it, thinking they've pulled the wool over everyone's eyes. But eventually, the truth always comes out. What was hidden in darkness will be exposed to the light. And when it's exposed, it's no longer just about the lies. It's about everything those lies have caused. The broken relationships, the shattered trust, the lives affected by the manipulation. It's not just the lie itself that will be judged. It's the entire web of consequences that came from it. This is exactly what is happening now. The deceit, the manipulation, the malice that was once hidden in the shadows is coming to light. Those who sowed seeds of division, those who took pleasure in watching others suffer, are now seeing their world unravel. It's not just a minor setback, it's a complete collapse. What they once thought was stable, what they once thought they could control, is now slipping through their fingers. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, believing you're safe, only to watch the ground beneath you crumble away. What was once certain is now uncertain. What was once firm is now fragile. And for those who believed they could escape the reach of divine justice, this is where they realize they were wrong. God's justice isn't just a matter of earthly laws or social consequences. It's deeper, it's spiritual, and it's always right. You can't hide from it. You can't bribe your way out of it. You can't charm or manipulate your way around. In this moment, there is no place to run, no place to hide. And this is where the chosen ones stand in contrast. While the world around them crumbles, while the enemies of truth and justice fall, the chosen ones rise. You see, God's justice isn't just about bringing down the wicked. It's also about elevating the faithful. Those who were mocked, rejected, and silenced are now being lifted up. It's not just about power or status. It's about divine purpose. Those who have walked faithfully in obedience to God, even when no one saw, even when it cost them everything, are now stepping into the roles they were always meant to fill. This isn't about revenge. It's about a divine realignment of power, a restoration of what was lost, a lifting up of the humble and faithful, and a complete reversal of fortunes. It's like this. The story of Daniel, thrown into the lions' den by corrupt rulers who sought to silence him. Daniel didn't fight back with violence. He didn't fight back with anger. He didn't try to control the situation. He remained faithful. He remained obedient, even when it seemed like all hope was lost. And in the end, Daniel didn't just survive the den, he was elevated. The very forces that tried to destroy him were the ones that saw his rise, and they were forced to witness it. This is the same rise we are witnessing today. Those who have been faithful, those who have trusted in God, even when the odds were against them, are now stepping into their divine authority. They are being placed in positions where they will bring about real change, where they will fulfill the purpose they were created for. The proud, the arrogant, the manipulative are not rising, they are falling. And this fall isn't just an external collapse, it's internal, spiritual. Those who once walked in pride now walk in fear, now hear the voices of their own mistakes echoing in their minds. What they once thought were tools for success, deception, manipulation, and pride, are now the very things that torment them. The silence they once used to control others is now deafening in their ears. And this collapse isn't something they can ignore. It's not something they can talk their way out of. The weight of their choices has caught up with them. This is what divine justice looks like. It's not just about punishment. It's about the divine balance being restored. It's about setting things right, even when it feels uncomfortable. For those who have lived their lives in opposition to God's will, the moment of reckoning has arrived. The consequences are now inescapable, and no amount of power, wealth, or influence can protect them from the truth that is now being revealed. But this is also a moment of opportunity. The chosen ones, those who have been faithful, are not rising because of their own strength. They are rising because of God's power and divine purpose. Their rise is not about them, it's about God fulfilling His plan. And for everyone who is watching, this is the reminder that no one can escape the truth. No one can escape the consequences of their actions, and no one can escape the grace and mercy of God if they are willing to turn and seek it. As the storm rages on, as the judgment unfolds, know this: God's justice is always right and it is always timely. The proud will fall, but the faithful will rise. And this is just the beginning. As we stand at the crossroads of divine justice, the storm rages on. The consequences are unfolding, and there's no turning back now. Those who believed they could escape the reckoning are realizing the truth. No one is exempt from the consequences of their choices. But here's the thing: while judgment is falling on those who sowed seeds of deception, there's another reality unfolding for those who have been faithful, for those who have answered the call. And that reality is this: for the chosen ones, this is not a time to fear. This is your moment to rise. For so long, you may have felt overlooked, pushed aside, silenced by the world around you. You've been walking in obedience, even when no one saw, staying true to your purpose, even when it seemed like nothing was changing. You've been faithful in the quiet, in the moments when it was hardest to keep going, when the weight of the world felt heavy on your shoulders. But now the time has come for you to step forward. You were always meant for this moment. And now, it's here. The purpose God placed in you is rising to the surface, and there's no more hiding from it. This is your divine moment. This isn't just about being in the right place at the right time. It's about being aligned with God's will. You were chosen, not by chance, but by design. Before the foundations of the earth were laid, before your name was ever spoken aloud, God had a plan for you. You were always a part of it. And now, that plan is being activated in ways you may not even fully understand yet. This isn't just about you. It's about the fulfillment of God's greater purpose for your life, and the world is about to see it. Think of it like this. Remember the story of Esther, a young woman who was brought into a royal palace, not by accident, but by divine purpose. She didn't know at first why she was there, why her life had taken this unexpected turn. But when the moment came, when the fate of her people hung in the balance, she rose. She stepped into her divine calling. It wasn't easy, it wasn't comfortable, but it was necessary. And because she stepped into her purpose, the course of history was changed forever. This is what's happening now. This is your moment to step into the role you were always meant to fill. But here's the twist. Just as the proud are falling, the chosen are rising. Not because of anything they've done, but because of the power of God at work in them. You are not rising on your own strength. You are rising because God has placed His divine authority upon you. The power that once worked against you, that tried to silence your voice, to hold you down, is now being used to elevate you. The same people who tried to diminish you, who mocked you, are now going to see your rise. And they will know it wasn't you, it was God. And they will witness firsthand the consequences of their choices. But this rise isn't about revenge. It's not about showing them they were wrong. It's about fulfilling your purpose. It's about stepping into the authority God has always had for you. You have been tested, you have been refined, and now you are being elevated to a position of influence. This isn't just about recognition from the world. It's about walking in the authority of heaven itself. The power you carry now isn't based on titles or accolades, but on the purpose that God has placed within you. And that purpose is more powerful than anything this world can offer. As the chosen ones rise, there will be those who try to stop, them who will attempt to belittle their progress, who will mock their journey. But understand this, their attempts will fail. It's not about the opposition you face, it's about the victory you've already won. Your rise is unstoppable, because it's not your strength that carries you, it's the power of God working through you. You have been positioned for this moment, for such a time as this. And no one, no force, no enemy can stop what God has already set in motion. You might have faced hardship. You might have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. But those seasons were never meant to break you. They were meant to prepare you. They were meant to refine you, to mold you into the person God has always intended you to be. And now, all that pain, all that struggle, all those moments when you wondered if it was worth it, are being redeemed. They are the foundation upon which God is building something unshakable. Every tear you shed, every silent prayer you prayed, every moment you stayed faithful when it seemed like no one noticed, it all counts. It was all part of the plan. And now, as you rise, understand this. You are not just rising to be seen. You are rising to fulfill a divine purpose. You are rising to make an impact, to bring change, to speak truth in a world that is desperately seeking it. Your voice, your presence, your purpose are needed now more than ever. The world needs what you carry. The world needs the light that is within you. And as you step into this new season, know that you are not stepping alone. God's hand is upon you. His favor is surrounding you. His purpose is unfolding in your life. So, as the storm continues to rage, as judgment falls on the wicked, don't be afraid. Rise. This is your time. You have been chosen for this moment, and now you are stepping into your divine destiny. It's not about what others think, not about the opinions of the world. It's about what God has placed in you. And the world is about to see it. The storm may be fierce, but you are unshakable. You are the chosen, and now is your time to rise. As the chosen ones rise, as the faithful step into their purpose, there is something even more profound happening beneath the surface, something that goes beyond the external battles we see. It's not just about power, position, or recognition. It's about something far greater, the divine shift that is taking place, a realignment of the world itself. This is the moment when everything changes. The divine plan is unfolding in ways that we can't always understand. But the evidence is clear. God's justice is not just about punishment. It is about bringing balance, restoring what was lost, and setting things right. For far too long, the scales have been tipped. For too long, those who have manipulated, deceived, and oppressed have had the upper hand. They've taken what wasn't theirs, exploited those beneath them, and believed that their power was untouchable. But now the tables are turning. The divine realignment has begun, and the proud are beginning to fall. Just look around. You can see it happening. The people who once wielded power with arrogance, who ruled with pride, are now facing a collapse they never saw coming. Their power is slipping, not because someone took it from them, but because the season has changed. The very systems they built their empires upon are starting to crumble. The control they once held is no longer in their grasp. And for the first time, they are realizing the cost of their choices. This isn't just some random shift. This is divine intervention. It's a cosmic reset, a turning of the tide that no one can stop. And for those who thought they had all the time in the world to repent, who believed they could continue down their path without consequence, the truth is dawning. They are now facing what they've always feared, the end of their reign. The eye through a facade is crumbling, the mask is slipping, and the truth is being exposed for all to see. But this is not just about the downfall of the wicked. This is where it gets even more powerful. As the proud fall, as those who once thought they were untouchable face the consequences of their actions, the chosen ones are stepping into their rightful place. This isn't about revenge, it's about divine justice and purpose. The rise of the chosen is not just a correction in the power dynamics of the world. It is the fulfillment of a greater plan, a divine reset that is restoring balance to everything. Imagine it like this. Think of a scale that has been tipped heavily to one side for far too long. One side weighed down by pride, arrogance, and deception. The other side with those who have been faithful, humble, and steadfast in obedience to God. For years it seemed like the weight on the wrong side would never lift, that the forces of justice and righteousness would never be able to move the scale. But now, in an instant, everything is shifting. The weight of the unjust is being lifted, and the faithful are being elevated, not by their own hand, but by the hand of God Himself. This divine realignment is not just about the positions of power. It's about realigning hearts. It's about restoring integrity, truth, and righteousness where there has been deception, manipulation, and injustice. Those who have lived with their arrogance, their deceit, and their pride will now face the consequences, not just externally, but deep within. The weight of their actions will collapse under the pressure, and they will see how far their choices have taken them from the path of truth. But for the chosen, this is the moment you've been waiting for. It's time to rise, not in pride or self-righteousness, but in the full authority of God's calling. You are stepping into your divine purpose, and it is not by your own strength or wisdom. This power you carry is not earthly. It is spiritual, backed by heaven itself. The enemies who once tried to hold you down, to silence your voice, are now being forced to watch as you step into your calling. What they tried to destroy, God is now elevating. And for those who have watched all of this unfold, for those who have seen the faithful rise and the proud fall, there is an undeniable truth. God's justice always prevails. It may not happen on your timeline. It may not look the way you expect, but it will always come. Those who believe they can escape the consequences of their actions will learn too late that they cannot outrun the truth. The consequences they once thought were distant are now knocking at their door, and the weight of divine justice is finally catching up with them. As the divine scales are set right, as the chosen step into their positions of authority, the world will see what happens when God moves. They will see that no amount of deception, no amount of manipulation, and no amount of pride can stop His plan. And for those who have been faithful, who have walked through the fire, who have stayed true when it seemed impossible, the reward is coming. You are not just rising to a position of power. You are stepping into the fullness of your divine purpose. This is your moment. This is your time. The divine realignment is here, and it is not just a shift in the world's power dynamics. It is a shift in the hearts of men, a shift in the very fabric of what is right and just. And those who have stood firm, those who have stayed true to their calling will not be shaken. The storm may rage, but you will stand firm. The proud may fall, but you will rise. The scales are being set right, and you are a living testimony to what happens when you stand firm in God's truth. The realignment continues, and as the scales tip in favor of the faithful, the truth becomes clearer by the minute. This isn't just a moment for those who have been obedient to God, those who have held fast to their faith through the storm. No, this moment is also for those who have plotted, who have deceived, and who have reveled in their power over others. For too long they have hidden behind masks of falsehood, cloaked in their arrogance and deception. But now, the time has come for everything they've hidden to be exposed. And that exposure will come with a force they never expected. You see, There is a divine law that cannot be broken. Whatever is done in secret, whatever is hidden in the shadows, will eventually be brought to light. The web of manipulation, deceit, and evil intentions that once seemed invisible is now being unraveled, piece by piece. Those who thought they could operate without consequence, those who thought they could act with impunity, are about to face the full weight of their choices. The time of reckoning has arrived, and there is nowhere left for them to hide. The sickness that's unfolding isn't merely a physical breakdown, it's the spiritual collapse of everything they've built. What they thought was strong, what they thought was invincible, is crumbling beneath them. This isn't just about external defeat. It's about the internal unraveling that happens when you've lived a life of deception. It's a collapse of the soul, a breakdown that starts deep within and spreads to every corner of their lives. What they once built through manipulation, what they once gained through pride and cruelty, is now coming undone from the inside out. This isn't just about punishment, it's about exposure. It's about revealing the truth that has been hidden for so long. And the truth is not just for the ones who have done wrong, it's for the world to see. For the enemies of the chosen, this exposure is not just about what they've done to others, it's about the reckoning of their very soul. Their lies, their manipulation, their deceit have created a toxic foundation. And now, that foundation is giving way. It's almost as if the heavens themselves are shining a spotlight on every dark corner, exposing the things that were once hidden. Every secret alliance, every whispered plot, every wicked intention that was once carried out in the darkness is now being revealed for all to see. The manipulative networks they built, the connections they forged in secrecy, are all unraveling before their eyes. What they once controlled with lies is now slipping through their fingers, and they are powerless to stop it. Those who stood in arrogance, believing that no one would ever know, that they could get away with it forever, are now facing the consequences. And what makes this exposure even more terrifying is that it's not just the world that will see. It's not just the people they deceived or hurt. It's the divine gaze that sees everything. God has not forgotten. He has been watching. He has seen every action. And now the time for accountability has come. But here's where the story turns. For the chosen ones, the faithful who have endured the mockery, the rejection, and the silence, this is the moment of vindication. The exposure of the wicked is not just a defeat for them, it's a victory for you. The very people who thought they had power over you, who sought to crush your spirit, are now being exposed for what they truly are. And you, the ones who have been faithful, who have trusted in God even when it seemed like the world was against you, are now stepping into your rightful place. This isn't about gloating. It's about seeing the full scope of divine justice unfold. It's about knowing that the systems that once oppressed, the powers that once controlled, are now falling apart. The truth is coming to light, and those who have plotted in secret, those who have manipulated in the shadows, are now being forced to face the consequences of their actions. And for the chosen, it's not just about the fall of the wicked, it's about stepping into your divine purpose. This is your time. As the world watches, as the secrets are brought to light, the chosen are not merely surviving, they are thriving. They are stepping into positions of authority that were always meant for them, positions that were taken away by deceit and manipulation. But now, God is elevating the faithful. He is restoring what was lost. He is placing you in a position where you will make an impact. And as you rise, the wicked will be left to watch, powerless to stop your rise. They will see what happens when God moves to restore what was once broken. Think of it like this. The tables are turning. The ones who once used their power to oppress, to manipulate, and to deceive are now falling from their high places. The foundation they built on lies is crumbling, and their empire is collapsing. The manipulation that once worked in their favor is now turning against them, like a force they can no longer control. The lies they told, the harm they caused, everything is now coming to light. The very foundation of their power is now being exposed. And in this moment of exposure, the chosen ones are stepping into their rightful place. This is the moment of divine justice in its purest form. It's not just about punishment, it's about truth. It's about restoring what was taken. And it's about showing the world that no one can escape the consequences of their choices, especially when they've lived in opposition to God's will. So, as the wicked are exposed, as their secrets are laid bare for all to see, remember this: your faith, your trust in God, has brought you to this moment. This is your time to rise, to walk in your divine purpose, to step into the authority God has always placed in you. And as you do, know this: what was once hidden is now being revealed, and the scales are being set right. As the storm of divine justice continues to rage, the world is witnessing something incredible, an undeniable shift. What was once thought immovable is now toppling. What was once deemed unbreakable is crumbling. The tables have been turned, and the scales are shifting. But this shift isn't just about the downfall of the wicked. It's not just about exposing the lies, the deceit, and the manipulation that have been running rampant for so long. No, this is much bigger. It's about a divine rebalancing of power, a realignment of authority, and a complete transformation of what the world has accepted as normal. For those who have spent their lives clinging to power, using deceit and fear to maintain their position, this shift is a moment of reckoning. The systems they once controlled with lies and manipulation are now slipping through their fingers, and they are powerless to stop it. But here's the twist: it's not just about the fall of the wicked, it's about the rise of the chosen ones. The ones who have been faithful, the ones who have endured the mockery, the pain, the silence. These are the ones who are now stepping into positions of authority, not because they have fought for it, but because God has ordained it. For years you have watched as the corrupt climbed to the top, as the manipulators and deceivers took what wasn't theirs. They used their power to control, to break others down, to build their empires on lies. But now, as the storm intensifies, they are beginning to feel the full weight of what they have sown. The power they once thought was theirs to hold forever is slipping away, and no amount of manipulation or intimidation can stop it. And in the midst of this collapse, the chosen ones are rising. This isn't a rise driven by pride or ambition. This is a rise by divine appointment, by the will of heaven itself. Those who once lived in the shadows, those who were overlooked, forgotten, or cast aside, these are the ones now stepping into the light. This isn't about revenge. It's not about proving others wrong. It's about fulfilling the divine purpose for which you were created. It's about walking in the authority that God has given you, the authority that the world cannot take from you no matter how much it tries. The rise of the faithful is not just about external victories, though. It's about internal transformation. It's about standing strong in the face of adversity, in the midst of a world that has rejected you. It's about stepping into your calling, even when it feels like everything around you is falling apart. This is where the real power lies, not in the recognition of the world, but in the unwavering trust you've placed in God. You may have been silenced, pushed aside, and treated as insignificant. But now, as the divine realignment continues, the world will see that you were never insignificant. You were always chosen. The scales are tipping, and they are tipping in your favor. But what's truly remarkable about this shift is that it isn't just about the chosen ones rising to positions of influence. It's about the shift in the very heart of society. What was once celebrated, pride, arrogance, manipulation, is now being exposed for what it truly is. The world is waking up. The systems of oppression, the powers that once ruled with force and fear, are being revealed for what they are: fragile, unsustainable, and hollow. And as they fall, the chosen ones will rise not to replace the corrupt, but to restore what has been lost. This divine realignment is not just a shift in leadership, it's a shift in heart. Those who were once blind to the ways of God, Those who lived for themselves and cared for nothing but their own gain are now facing the consequences of their actions. Their power, once so solid, is now crumbling under the weight of their choices. They are being exposed for what they truly are, and in that exposure, their influence is collapsing. The chosen ones, however, are not being elevated by force or manipulation. They are rising because they have walked in truth, because they have stayed faithful when it wasn't easy. And as the world watches, they will see that those who have trusted in God will be the ones who stand when everything else has fallen. But don't be mistaken. This shift isn't just about those in positions of power. It's about a shift in every heart. It's about the realization that no amount of manipulation, no amount of deceit, and no amount of pride can sustain what is not built on truth. For the ones who once held the reins of power through fear and lies, the truth is now catching up with them. And the truth is this: their power was never truly theirs to hold. It was always God's, and now He is taking it back. As you rise, as you step into your divine purpose, understand this: you are not rising to replace anyone. You are rising to restore what has been lost. You are rising to walk in the authority that God has given you. And that authority will not be shaken. For the faithful, for the chosen, the season of being overlooked is over. The season of silence is over. This is your time, your moment to stand and walk in the purpose that has always been yours. And as you walk, know that you are not alone. God's hand is on you, guiding you, lifting you. The storms may still rage, the battle may still feel fierce, but the victory has already been won. The shift is happening, and it's happening now. Those who have oppressed, those who have manipulated are now falling, and the chosen ones are rising. This is the divine realignment, and there's no turning back. The time is now. As the divine realignment continues to unfold, there is one undeniable truth that becomes clearer by the day. What has been hidden for so long is now being revealed. The scales are tipping, the proud are falling, and the chosen are rising. But this shift is not just about the external changes in power or position. No, this is much deeper. The change happening now is spiritual. It is personal. It is the unveiling of the truth that has been concealed within every heart, every mind, every woe. And for many, that truth is a revelation that comes with a heavy weight. What do I mean by this? It's the revelation that the consequences of a lifetime of choices are now catching up to those who have lived in deceit, who have used manipulation, pride, and arrogance to rise to power. The time of reckoning is not just an external event. It's a deeply internal unraveling. The very foundation of their being, built on lies and falsehoods, is now crumbling. What they once thought was strong is beginning to break apart from the inside out, and there is no escape. For years, they lived their lives as if they could outsmart God, as if their lies would never be exposed, as if they could escape the consequences of their choices. But now, the truth is breaking through the darkness. Their manipulations, their betrayals, their deceptions, everything they have hidden in the shadows is now coming to light. The world is watching as their once secure empires collapse. They are now facing the very thing they feared the most: the exposure of their falsehoods and the unraveling of everything they built on those lies. But here's where it gets even more intense. This is not just a physical collapse, it's a spiritual one. These individuals are facing a spiritual isolation they never saw coming. The consequences they are now experiencing aren't just happening in the world around them, they are happening within them. It's like a deep spiritual sickness that eats away at their soul, an unraveling of their identity, and everything they once held dear. The pride that once drove them is now suffocating them. The lies they once relied on to get ahead are now turning against them, like a fire they cannot control. And as this unraveling happens, there is something even more terrifying at play: the divine intervention that has been set in motion. It's as if the heavens themselves are placing a boundary around those who have operated in darkness, a spiritual boundary they cannot cross. The very tools they once used to manipulate, to control, to deceive, those tools are now useless. Their words fall flat. Their influence evaporates. The systems they relied on to maintain control are now failing them. It's as if heaven has placed them behind an invisible wall, and no matter how hard they try to break through, they can't. This spiritual isolation, this collapse from the inside out, is perhaps the most terrifying aspect of the divine justice at work. It's not just a physical downfall, it's a spiritual unraveling that they cannot escape. For so long they believed they were untouchable. They thought they could manipulate and deceive their way to success, that no one would ever see their true motives. But now, the truth is being revealed. And for those who stand on the side of pride, for those who have lived for themselves and ignored the cries of the oppressed, the exposure is nothing short of devastating. But there is a silver lining in all of this. For those who have walked in obedience, for those who have remained faithful, for those who have trusted in God's timing, the rise is not just external, it is deeply internal as well. While the wicked are being exposed, the chosen are being refined. Just as the proud are isolated, the faithful are being drawn closer to their true purpose. This is not just a season of external promotion, it is a season of deep spiritual growth, a deepening of the relationship with God that will position the faithful to fulfill their divine calling like never before. You see, this moment is not just about earthly power. It is about spiritual authority, and those who have stood firm in the face of opposition, who have kept their hearts pure in the midst of a world that has tried to corrupt them, are now stepping into a new level of spiritual power that cannot be shaken. As the wicked are exposed, as their plans unravel, the chosen are rising in strength, walking in the power of God's authority, not the authority of this world. But this rise is not about revenge. It is not about watching those who once tried to destroy you fall. It is about stepping into the divine calling that has always been yours. It is about fulfilling the purpose that God has placed on your life. It is about walking in the authority of heaven itself. And in this moment, as the world watches, you will stand tall, not because of your own strength, but because of God's power at work within you. The truth is that when the storm is over, when the exposure has been made, and the divine justice has been executed, there will be a new world, a world where the faithful will reign, a world where truth, righteousness, and justice will prevail. And those who have been faithful, those who have walked in integrity, those who have trusted in God's timing will see the fullness of His promise fulfilled. The storm continues to rage, remember? Divine justice isn't just about the fall of the wicked. It's about the rise of the faithful. And in this rise, you will see the glory of God's justice unfold, not just in the world around you, but in the very depths of your soul. The chosen are rising, not to replace the wicked, but to restore what was lost, to rebuild what was broken. And when all is said and done, you will stand, unwavering, unshaken, as a testimony of God's power, grace, and divine justice. As the storm of divine justice rages on, the consequences of past actions continue to unfold with terrifying precision. The collapse of the proud and the rise of the faithful have already begun to shake the very foundations of society. But here's what's even more remarkable. While the world watches the exposure of those who have lived in deceit, there's a deeper and far more dangerous shift occurring. This shift is not just one of power, it's a shift in trust, in belief, in what people once held as unshakable. And now, those who thought they were untouchable, those who manipulated others to gain control, are now feeling the full weight of their isolation. This is not just a physical breakdown. No, this is spiritual warfare at its most intense. The enemies of the chosen ones have fought for control using their words, their influence, their manipulation. They once seemed unstoppable, and for years they pulled the strings from behind the scenes, using fear, guilt, charm, and coercion to get what they wanted. But now, as the divine shift unfolds, their tools are turning against them. Their words no longer hold power. The charm they once relied on is now hollow. The fear they used to control others is no longer effective. And as they stand there, unable to use their old tricks, they are realizing something terrifying. Their power was never truly theirs to begin with. The most unsettling part of this revelation is that it's not just a loss of control in the physical world. It's much deeper. It's as though the very foundations of their souls are crumbling. The lies they've built their lives on, the manipulations they've used to stay ahead, are now being exposed for what they are: fragile, unsustainable, and utterly hollow. And the more they try to cling to the remnants of their influence, the more they feel it slipping away, like sand through their fingers. Imagine the realization setting in. You've spent your entire life building an empire on lies, controlling the narrative, bending people to your will. You've built a world where you were the center, where you manipulated outcomes and kept your secrets hidden in the shadows. But now, as the storm of divine justice continues to rage, you can feel the grip of control loosening. You can feel the truth creeping in, revealing everything you've worked so hard to hide. And in that moment, there's nothing you can do to stop it. That moment of reckoning is the most terrifying of all. For those who have lived in pride and deception, there is nowhere left to run. They can't hide behind their lies anymore. They can't silence those they've hurt. They can't manipulate their way out of the consequences of their actions. The truth is coming to light, and there is no escaping it. And for the first time, they are experiencing the weight of their decisions, not just externally, but within themselves. The pride that once drove them is now suffocating them, and they are trapped within the very world they created. But here's the truth. While the wicked are crumbling under the weight of their own deceit, the chosen ones are stepping into a new reality. This divine shift isn't just about the fall of the proud. It's about the rise of the faithful. It's about the restoration of what was broken, the rebuilding of what was lost, and the elevation of those who have stood firm in the face of adversity. The rise of the chosen is not a result of worldly power, but of divine purpose. This rise is a spiritual one, and it is unstoppable. For years, the chosen ones have been overlooked, dismissed, and silenced. They have endured the attacks, the lies, the rejection. They have been forced to walk in faith when there was no clear path forward. But now, as the storm continues to sweep away the deceit and the lies, the chosen are being positioned to rise, not out of revenge, but out of divine appointment. The world may have rejected them, but God has always had a purpose for them. And now that purpose is being revealed in ways that no one can deny. You see, the rise of the chosen is not just about leadership, it's about spiritual authority. While the wicked are losing their power, the faithful are being given the authority of heaven itself. This is the kind of authority that no one can take away. No amount of manipulation or deceit can diminish. It's the authority that comes from walking in alignment with God's will, from standing firm in truth, and from remaining faithful when the world tried to silence you. And this is where the power dynamics are reversed. As the world watches, they will see that the once mighty, the once untouchable, are now powerless in the face of truth. And they will also see that those who were overlooked, who were rejected, who were mocked, these are the ones now walking in the authority of heaven. This divine realignment is happening right before our eyes, and it's happening in the hearts of those who have trusted in God's plan, even when it seemed like everything was falling apart. For those who are chosen, this is your time. The shift has already begun. And as the storm of divine justice continues to unfold, you will rise. You are stepping into your divine calling, walking in the authority that God has always placed in you. The world may have tried to diminish you, but now the truth is clear. You were always meant for this moment. You were always meant to rise. And as you do, you will not only restore what was broken, but you will bring divine order to a world that has long been lost in deception. This is the great shift. The proud will fall and the chosen will rise. And in the end, it will be clear to all, God's justice always prevails. As the storm of divine justice rages on, the rise of the faithful has been set into motion. The shift is undeniable. Those who once controlled the narrative, those who believed they were untouchable, are now facing the consequences of their own deceit. And as their world unravels, the chosen ones, those who have walked through the fire of rejection, betrayal, and silence, are stepping into their divine purpose. This isn't just a shift in power. It's a spiritual awakening, a divine elevation that no one can take away. For so long, the chosen ones have remained in the shadows, working quietly, faithfully, and with little recognition. But now, as the forces of darkness are exposed, as the lies of the wicked are stripped bare, the light is breaking through. Those who once lived in the comfort of their manipulation, in the false security of their deceit, are now facing the full weight of divine justice. But for the chosen, this is not the time to gloat. This is not a moment of revenge. It's a moment of fulfillment. It's the moment when all the years of struggle, all the pain, all the silence have led to this one undeniable truth. God's purpose for your life is unfolding, and nothing can stop it. The divine realignment that is happening right now is not just an external shift. It's a spiritual one. As the corrupt systems fall, as the proud are brought low, the chosen are stepping into a new realm of authority, a new level of influence that they were always destined for. This is a rise that isn't based on worldly power, but on divine appointment. This is the kind of authority that no one can take away, no matter how much they try to stop it. And as you rise, understand this. It is not your strength that is lifting you, but God's power working through you. In the past, the chosen ones may have been overlooked, dismissed, or even actively oppressed by those who sought to maintain control. You may have been silenced, pushed to the edges of society, ignored by the very world that now watches as you step into the light. But now, the time has come. This divine shift is not about earthly accolades or recognition. It's about fulfilling the divine calling that has always been placed upon your life. The world may not have seen you for who you truly are, but God has always known your worth, and now that worth is being revealed. For years, the wicked have used their power to silence the voices of the faithful, to manipulate the narrative and create systems that served only their selfish purposes. They believed their reign would never end, that they could continue to deceive, continue to control, and continue to hide behind the illusion of power. But what they didn't realize is that there is a higher power at work, a power that sees, knows all, and in the end, restores all. And now the tide is turning. As their influence crumbles, as their lies are exposed, the faithful are rising to take their place. The rise of the chosen is not just about stepping into positions of authority, it's about stepping into your divine purpose. This is the moment when your true calling is revealed, not for your glory, but for God's glory. This is the time when you will begin to see the fullness of your potential, the fullness of your divine destiny unfold before your eyes. This is not a small shift. This is the fulfillment of God's plan for your life. The struggle, the waiting, the rejection, none of it was wasted. It was all part of the divine preparation for the moment when you would step into the role you were always meant to play. But let me be clear, this rise is not just about you. It's about the greater purpose that God has set in motion for the world. As you rise, you are not just walking into power, you are walking into divine responsibility. With the authority that God has placed upon you comes a responsibility to bring truth, righteousness, and justice into the world. This rise is not for personal gain. It is for the greater good. It is for the restoration of what has been broken. It is for the healing of a world that has been fractured by lies, manipulation, and deceit. And the world is watching as this divine shift unfolds. You may have been overlooked, you may have been rejected, but the time has come for the chosen ones to rise and take their rightful place in the world. And as you do, know this: the forces of darkness that once tried to silence you are now powerless to stop what God is doing. Their influence is fading, their power is slipping, and while they may try to manipulate or deceive one last time, they are fighting a losing battle. Because when God elevates you, no force can stand against it. The rise of the faithful is not about personal glory. It's about the fulfillment of God's divine purpose. It's about stepping into your role as a light in the darkness, as a beacon of truth in a world that has been lost in lies. It's about walking in the authority that God has given you and using that authority to bring about real change, real healing, and real restoration. The world may have tried to diminish you, but now, as you rise, the world will see who you truly are. You are not just an individual, you are part of a divine plan that has been set in motion long before you were born. This is your time. This is the moment you have been prepared for. The storm may still be raging, but you are standing firm, unwavering in the authority that God has given you. As the proud fall and the corrupt systems collapse, the chosen ones will rise, not just to take the place of the wicked, but to restore what has been lost. The time has come for you to step into the fullness of your purpose and fulfill the calling that God has placed upon your life. And as you rise, you will not be stopped. As the divine shift unfolds, as the chosen ones rise to take their rightful place in the world, a new reality begins to emerge. The old systems, the systems built on deception and manipulation, are crumbling. The proud, once unshakable, are now falling. The tables have been turned and the chosen are stepping into positions of authority, not because they fought for it, but because they were called for such a time as this. And as they rise, the world is watching, and with each passing moment it becomes clearer. Divine justice is not just about the fall of the wicked, it is about the restoration of what has been broken. But let's pause for a moment and truly understand what is happening here. This isn't just a season of change, it's a season of reckoning, a season of redemption. The wicked have had their day. They have sown the seeds of deception and evil for far too long. They have built their empires on lies, manipulating the world around them to serve their purposes. They've used their power to oppress, to silence, to control. But now, the time has come for their harvest. Their deceit, their manipulation, their pride, all of it is being exposed for what it truly is: fragile and unsustainable. What the wicked failed to realize is this: there are divine laws that govern the world, and no matter how much they try to resist, those laws will always prevail. What is done in secret will be revealed in the light. What is built on lies will eventually crumble. And now, the truth is coming to light in ways they never anticipated. The systems they relied on are collapsing. Their influence is fading, and their power is slipping through their fingers. They thought they could manipulate their way to the top forever, but now they are facing the consequences of their actions. The reckoning has arrived, but while the wicked face their unraveling, the chosen ones are rising. And this rise is not just about regaining lost ground. It is about restoring what has been broken. It is about stepping into the fullness of God's purpose for your life. The world may have rejected you, dismissed you, or overlooked you, but now the time has come for your rise. You were always meant for this moment. You were always meant to walk in the authority that God has placed upon you. And as you do, you will see the world around you change. The forces of darkness that once tried to silence you are now powerless to stop you. This rise isn't just about your personal victory. It's about the fulfillment of God's greater plan. The wicked have had their chance to rule, but their time is up. Their empires are crumbling because they were built on a foundation of lies. Now, it's the chosen one's turn. It's time for the faithful, the humble, those who have walked in truth, to rise and take their rightful place in God's kingdom. This is your divine moment. The storm may still be raging, but you are standing firm in the power of God's purpose. And with this rise comes an undeniable truth. The power dynamics of the world are shifting. The chosen ones are not rising in pride, but in purpose. They are stepping into positions not for personal gain, but to bring about divine restoration. What was once broken is now being healed. What was lost is being restored. You are not just stepping into power, you are stepping into your divine calling. And with it comes a responsibility to bring justice, truth, and healing to the world. The chosen ones are not simply being elevated for their own glory. They are being elevated for God's glory. This is a time when the world will see what happens when God's hand is upon someone. The proud may try to resist, they may try to fight back, but in the end, they will see that no one can stand against God's will. When God elevates His chosen, no force in the world can stop it. You are walking into a season where you will see the fullness of your divine purpose unfold. The world may have tried to silence you, tried to diminish you, but God has always had a plan. And now that plan is being revealed. As you rise, know that the battle isn't over. The storm may still be fierce, but your victory is certain. The rise of the chosen is not just a shift in the world's power structures, it is the fulfillment of God's promise. The time for the wicked to have dominion is over. Their time has come to an end, and it is the chosen ones who will now walk in the authority that was always meant for them. This is your moment to step into the fullness of your calling. So, as the world watches, understand this. Your rise is not just a personal triumph, it is the restoration of divine order. This is a time of healing, a time of redemption. You are not just rising to replace the wicked, you are rising to bring about God's plan of restoration. You will walk in authority, you will walk in purpose, and as you do, you will see the world around you begin to change. The chains that once held you back are now broken. The forces that once tried to silence you are now powerless. And as the storm continues to rage, you will stand firm, knowing that this is the moment you were always destined for. As we've journeyed through this powerful message today, it's clear that a divine shift is unfolding in our world. One that is revealing the truth, restoring what has been broken, and raising up the faithful to take their rightful place. But this shift is not just about the external world. It's about what's happening within each of us. It's a time for reflection, for realizing that we are all part of a much greater plan, and it's never too late to step into the purpose God has for us. Now, we want to hear from you. How does this message resonate with your own life? Have you seen the shift in your own journey? Are you ready to rise even when the storms are fierce? We encourage you to share your thoughts, your experiences, and your reflections in the comments below. Your voice matters. Together, we can support and uplift one another as we walk in divine purpose. Let us know how this message has impacted you, or share your thoughts on the divine shift happening in the world today. Don't hesitate. This is your time to speak, to connect and to be a part of the change God is orchestrating. We can't wait to read your thoughts.